Before David Goggins was running marathons or known as the hardest man alive, he worked the midnight shift exterminating pests. He ate a box of donuts every day and weighed nearly 300 pounds. He was fat, lazy, and completely lost. He grew up abused, unable to read, and faced more pain and stress than most people will in a lifetime. And the more rejection and fear he encountered, the more he settled into his mediocrity. Every day looked the same, working a job he hated, eating to numb the pain, drifting without purpose. If he kept living that way, no one would ever have heard his name. He would have lived and died as a failure, a loser only he knew he was. The day that changed everything for David Goggins was a day like any other. When he finished his graveyard shift as an exterminator, he didn't realize that his destiny was going to come to him that day. When he drank his chocolate milkshake, he didn't realize he was going to lose 106 pounds in the next 3 months. When he devoured a box of donuts, he didn't know he would be the source of inspiration for men like me all around the world. But something woke in him that day. When he caught a show about the Navy SEALs training on TV, it finally made him look at himself and realize the pathetic loser he had become, and how he wanted so desperately to be like the men he respected on TV. He had a million reasons to give up on that dream and just stay a loser. After all, he was overweight, mentally weak, broken, and complacent in life. Even when he took action and called army recruiters, he would be laughed at and rejected over and over again. Even when he became a recruit, his body would fail him over and over again, forcing him to go through Hell Week not once or twice, but 3 whole times. Even when he became an ultramarathon runner, he would have to deal with multiple knee and heart surgeries. In the face of all that sheer suffering, why not just give up? Why not just quit on your dreams and stay complacent? I want you to take a second and just ask yourself this question. Imagine what kind of man you could be, and what if it actually came true? Pause this video even and just think about it, because life is filled with so many unfortunate situations, and the reality is that most people die with dreams left unaccomplished and with futures that they couldn't achieve. People give up. People come across money problems, across health issues. Life often gets in the way of us becoming the person that we want to be and the future that we dream of. But it's actually not entirely true. There is one thing that keeps us trapped more than all of the reasons that I just listed, and that's the quitting mind. It's our mind's ability to come up with a million reasons and excuses for why we can't achieve our dreams, for why we can't become the man that we want to be, and why the future that we want is something that we will never be able to achieve in this lifetime. I've come across this so many times, even in my own life. When I was 18 years old, nearly 200 pounds, not 300 pounds like Goggins, but still, I was a big boy. And I was smoking weed every single day and just asthmatic and the most unathletic kid in the world. I couldn't imagine that I would one day be running multiple marathons, doing 100 kilometers, and having the life that I have now. I'm not saying I have anything insane, but it's just that I couldn't imagine myself being confident, being able to talk to a camera, being able to do hard things. And the real reason wasn't because of my asthma, it wasn't because of health problems, it wasn't because of life situations, it was because of the quitting mind. And the quitting mind has kept me trapped in so many old habit loops and stuck in my ways, because I just assume that whatever I want to create, it's not possible. It's not for me. But when I take a second and I ask myself, what kind of man do I want to be? And what if it's actually possible? I'm only focusing on the path forward. I'm focusing on how I can actually get there, and all of the excuses, reasons, and logical explanations for why it can't come true, they all get pushed aside. they aren't valuable and they aren't relevant when I ask myself the question of what if. By asking yourself what if you can actually achieve your dreams and you can actually become the man that you want to be, you're focusing solely on what needs to be done now to get you from point A to point B. Nothing else matters. We give up easily on our dreams because it's often safer to be stuck in a mediocre cycle than it is to chase a hopeful dream. Our minds are literally wired to keep us stuck because look at Goggins. He hated his life. He was miserable. He was 300 pounds. He was working a job he hated, in a loveless relationship, and overall just a zombie, doing everything that he swore to himself he didn't want to be. Yet he's stuck in that path because even though it's hell is often more comfortable than a hopeful dream and dealing with all the uncertainty that comes with it. Because when we work towards our dream, we have to take ownership for ourselves. We have to move forward even when things get tough. And all of that fear and anxiety for the future is easily avoided when we stay stuck in a hellish loop. And we can stay stuck in that loop for our whole lives, waiting for a turning point, waiting and saying that, oh, tomorrow I'll start to change. Maybe tomorrow I'll actually take action to become the man that I want to be. Maybe tomorrow I'll work towards my dream. But if we wait for tomorrow for our turning point, we could be waiting for our whole lives and never achieve anything. When our turning point happens, it won't be as obvious as when you're reading it from David Goggins' book, because it's easy to point at which page and at which point in time he went from being 300 pounds to being the man that was dedicated to becoming a Navy SEAL, and then afterwards all of the marathons that he ran. It's easy to see that point when you're reading it from someone else's book. But what that looks like in our life when it comes to our turning point is that every single day, we will have to put in the work to change ourselves. Whether it's going to the gym, whether it's eating healthier, whatever goals and dreams that we have for ourselves in our future, it's work that has to be accomplished every single day, and it won't ever be as obvious as someone else's turning point. But if we're willing to put in that work every single day, it's almost inevitable that our turning point will be obvious later on in the future. It's the people that quit, it's the people that give up on their dreams, on the future version of themselves that they want to be, that their turning point is never obvious because there never was one. They will stay stuck in their pattern for the rest of their lives, never expecting for things to get better and never putting in the work to improve themselves. So I want to leave you with this. Just imagine what kind of man you want to be, what kind of future you want to have. And despite all of the insecurities, all of the excuses, and all of the reasons why it can't happen, just what if? What if it was possible? How would you make it happen?